Hello and welcome to the Helios blog. My name is Helios. Today we're going to talk about why do women cheat even if you're a good partner. It's a terrible time in all our lives when a girl betrays us. We thought she'd be our one and only, the special girl to beat all others, and she turned out to be just like the rest. We vowed to never let it happen to us again. Then we get with a new girl and exactly the same thing happens. Most men just blame it on the girl and repeat the same mistake for the rest of their lives. What if I told you that the problem lies not with the woman cheating on you, but with you? That's right, it's your fault, and here's why. Enjoying my content? Check out my blog at heliosblog.com. On YouTube, you can support me by liking and subscribing. I'm also on Spotify if you'd prefer a podcast. If you're interested in my books, The Strategist Guide to Seduction and Quotes to Live By, they're available on Amazon. In addition, you can follow me on Patreon at the Helios blog for exclusive content. On with the show. Why did she cheat on me? Women cheat on men for many reasons. They're bored, they're frustrated, they've been with a man for too long. The man was a total doormat and let the girl walk all over him. The guy was an alpha and absolutely refused to budge on anything. She saw a hot guy on Tinder and just wanted to try a no-strings thing. I have a secret for you. There is no special girl who isn't like this. Women are human. Allow me to explain. Don't think of it as cheating, think of it as human. Humans want sex with multiple partners in the long term. Women are human. This means that if a woman stays with you for long enough, they will want sex with someone other than you. It's exactly the same thing for men. If you leave men for long enough, no matter how good their partner is, they still want to sleep with other women. What this means is that fundamentally humans are not monogamous. This means that the issue is not the person, but the nature of the promises made that were the problem. You expected her to be monogamous with you because she promised, and then she turned out to be human. You shouldn't blame her, you should blame your expectations that she would be perfect. Let me explain a bit more about female nature to you. Hypergamy. In general, women are hypergamous. That means they want the best partner. The problem is that the best is subjective to them. Who the best person is changes over time and with a woman's mood. What this leads to is serial monogamy. They stay with one partner for a while, up to 3 years, and then some problem comes up that leads them to not believe that their partner is the best anymore. They then will see another as the best and want to move on. This does not mean that they necessarily move on instantly after the 3-year period has passed, simply that the honeymoon period is over. Men usually report an increase in bad behavior from women at this point in the relationship, and sex is usually denied, if not rarely, then occasionally. The problem is further exacerbated until the man and woman are having no sex at all. This is less of a problem for the woman than for the man, as men usually have higher sex drives than women. As a result, men tend to suffer in monogamous, long-term relationships. Monogamy. Monogamy does tend to work for women in the short term, and sometimes for men as well, in rare beta cases. Monogamy is defined as being with one partner exclusively. Often, monogamy manifests in women as sleeping with only one partner and keeping a few others on the back burner. It does not, however, work in the long term. It doesn't matter if you're the best boyfriend in the world, which usually to women just means you're an amazing doormat beta to them, or you're the worst, which usually to women means you're a hot alpha who refuses to bend. They'll inevitably want to sleep with another partner. Some women then just cheat on their partner while staying in the relationship for the other benefits. Others break up with their man and immediately sleep with another man, a guy who they already had on the back burner. This is why her beta bitch boyfriend, or her yes dear husband, doesn't work in the long term. It's also why being alpha and holding frame, as they say in the manosphere, doesn't work either in the long term. You'll inevitably be cheated on or left if you're with a woman monogamously for long enough. It's simply human nature and not your fault. What is your fault is agreeing to be monogamous. Once you know a certain relationship strategy doesn't work, you shouldn't use it. Women's cyclical nature. Women have a cyclical nature. Men do not. They have a more linear nature. Just read literature or do your own observations if you want proof of this. As a result, women's emotions change over time and they enjoy this, whereas men generally hate it when their emotions are fluctuating greatly. The sad implication of this is that every relationship a woman is in is doomed from the beginning. They're doomed to either break up or tire and endure the relationship only to finally cheat out of boredom. There are 2 ways that women's cyclical nature applies to relationships. Option 1. Women will often be sexually attracted to an alpha man at first. They lose their virginity to him, or if they're already sexually active, leave their partner for him. They'll be sexually exclusive to him and promptly shit test to try and change him. If he bends to all of her shit testing over time, he's molded into a beta. She's happy with the beta for a while. After all, beta men kiss her ass and tell her she's perfect. Nothing lasts forever. She tires of the beta she's created and leaves, replacing him with another alpha, often one who is exactly like the one she left when the relationship first started. She then repeats the cycle. Option 2. Women are initially sexually attracted to an alpha man and sleep with him. She becomes sexually exclusive and shit tests to try and change him. Nothing different so far. He absolutely refuses to bend to her will. Her attraction skyrockets and she doubles her efforts to tame him. He still refuses. Finally, after a certain amount of time, she tires of his stubbornness. She finds the closest beta and leaves the alpha for him. She spends some time with the beta and tires of him. She then remembers the alpha that refused to bend and returns to him, repeating the pattern. This cycle continues for years. Unfortunately, you only have the choice of being one of the two men in these scenarios, the tamed alpha or the stubborn alpha. Notice how neither of them end up being with you forever, but in scenario 2, she keeps coming back to you over and over. I recommend you try and be the man in option 2, the stubborn alpha, for your own long-term happiness. Marriage doesn't work. Obviously, as you can see implied from the above two scenarios, marriage doesn't work. The girl will inevitably tire of you, whether you're a good for women beta or an asshole for women alpha husband. She then explodes your life, for different reasons, of course. Don't get married. There's a reason why people in marriages, especially men, are miserable after divorce. It's entirely because of human nature. The man is often at fault as well, but I'm showing you why women tire of men due to the nature in this article. Funnily, once the man is out of the marriage, he experiences a happiness unlike what he has felt his whole life, and often comes out better emotionally, often catapulting him to alpha status in the eyes of his ex-wife, who then wants him back. Of course, at this point, the man is usually with a woman he considers better than his ex-wife. Simply a woman who hasn't denied him sex yet, and so he denies his ex-wife. I'm sure you've seen successful marriages too. Marriages that in your eyes are working because the couple hasn't broken up yet. What you'll find, however, is that behind closed doors, outside the public eye, they're often miserable, experiencing the problems I've pointed out above. It's rarely a happy marriage after the 3-year honeymoon mark. Oh, and another thing. Incentives for divorce. Not only do most women tire of marriage, they're incentivized to do so. Divorce gives alimony. Alimony is money paid to the ex-wife to maintain her in the lifestyle she had before the divorce. It's payment for the privilege of having been married to the woman. It's ridiculous, frankly. Obviously, the man suffers as a result. Child support is a different story. It does make sense for the man to pay for the children he's made. Since women are incentivized to divorce, they do so, and often. The rate of divorce has increased from 50%, and 50% is already nuts. It just goes to show, paying people to leave other people is probably not the best way to promote them to stay together in the long term. It in fact promotes women only to stay as long as they're happy in a marriage, 1 to 3 years, or maybe if you're lucky, 7 years. But what about children, Helios? Isn't marriage the best way to have children? You need a stable 2-parent household. If you want to have children, have them. Live with a woman in a serious relationship in a place where common law marriage is not a thing, and have children with her in a house apartment with the properties in your name. Before the children, have a parenting plan already in place, signed by a notary. Do not share finances and do not get married. When the inevitable split happens, you pay child support, but no alimony, and go your separate ways, each taking the things you own before being together. Much more clean and less of a hassle for both of you. No marriage. You also have a stable 2-parent household as long as you want it. You should be non-monogamous in this arrangement, however, and so should your partner. Non-monogamy. It's extremely important for a man to keep his balls in any relationship. He does this by never being monogamous. Never commit to only one girl. I recommend that you always have a roster of at least 3 women that you're sleeping with regularly. This way, if one leaves for whatever reason, usually because you refuse to bend to her will, you're still non-monogamous. This does not mean that each of these women is a non-monogamous girlfriend. In fact, I recommend that you have either all friends with benefits, or you have 1 non-monogamous girlfriend and 2 friends with benefits. You could have multiple non-monogamous girlfriends, but I find it hard to split my love between women. Generally, I really like or love one girl, and others I sleep with because I require sexual variety. Generally, the women I'm sleeping with are also non-monogamous, and it doesn't bother me at all. You obviously can't force women to be monogamous with you if you're seeing multiple women. I've tried and found that the maximum they'll stay with you if you try this is about 1 year. After that, they inevitably leave or get a boyfriend anyway, since you're not providing them with the ass-kissing they want. Alternate relationship strategies. The point I'm trying to get across is that traditional relationships don't work, especially for men. There are relationship strategies that do, however, and I've mentioned 2 already. There's friends with benefits and there's non-monogamous girlfriends. There's 2 other ones that also work, and they're for guys that are interested in more serious relationships. There's serious non-monogamous girlfriends, and there's open marriages. These relationship strategies work because they allow you, the man, to not ever be monogamous. It creates an inherent cycle in the girl's life, as she's happy with you and wonders what you're doing when you're not around, mixed with a little jealousy. As a result of this, you increase the relationship length by quite a long time. Basically, you can see women for years in on-again, off-again patterns as they go through beta-loser boyfriends, then leave them for you and return. They then get frustrated with your non-monogamy and leave, only to return again later. Ironically, these relationship strategies lead to longer relationships if you add up the times of each one. Since you're having concurrent relationships, you also spend much more time with women than the average beta man. The only difference is the time you spend with each girl is not back-to-back. Your roster will continuously rotate as women come in and out of your life, with many returning over the years. Conclusion. As you can see, women cheat not because they're evil, but because it's a stupid decision to put them into relationships that don't account for human nature. You should understand that women are cyclical and will tire of any man eventually. You shouldn't hate them for this. Instead, you should embrace it in your overall life relationship strategy. Once you understand how women work, it's hard to hate them. You should actively choose relationships where women leaving you doesn't cause you great emotional pain or loss of financial resources. It only makes sense. Good luck.